Hey, how's it going, everybody? So this is Ryan, Coach Ryan with Project Fresh, and today we're going to be covering your myofascial release slash energy boost protocol. This is going to be the second phase, so you should be already familiar with this terminology and what I'm saying. If not, then you probably haven't done my foam rolling yet in the first 4 weeks. This is phase 2. If you find yourself watching this video and you haven't done any foam rolling yet, you want to go back to phase 1 to get the basics of foam rolling and also, more importantly, your repetition and routine in. Once you've got that in, then you can come back to this. Okay, glad we got that over with. Today's focus is going to be primarily based on legs. We'll have a separate one for upper body. All right, so it's a little bright, which is usually what it looks like with when you're training with me. So let's set the mood a little bit. Ooh, I think I might have gone a little too much. Let's go up just a little bit. Just a little bit. All right. We want to set the mood. How about some music too? Let's get something relaxing going. And all right, cool. So we're set. So what we're going to focus on first is we're going to go through a quick 5 minutes of recap of what we've been doing in the first phase. Again, if this isn't a regular routine for you, or you haven't been on a foam roller in a long time, then I strongly encourage you to not do this because it might be very uncomfortable. But if you've had prior foam rolling experience or have done my first phase in the recent past, then by all means jump in. Or if you have one of the devices that I'm going to recommend at your disposal, then I think this will work for you. But again, this is meant to be the second step of our myofascial release energy boost protocol that builds upon itself as we go. And that's for your comfort and ultimately for pliability and stress relief in the muscles. Okay, so excuse me, for the first 5 minutes, we're going to just focus on a quick recap of using a foam roller for the lower half, addressing all the key muscles. There was a specific 5 that I addressed in phase 1 that we're going to go through quickly, and I'm going to add on 6 and 7 just to show you a comprehensive and full, complete foam roll of the lower body. All right, we're going to do that in 5 minutes time. So here's our timer. I will stick to it. 2.5 minutes on one leg and repeat for the other side. So we're on. So our first one was the calf. And what we did is we just spent time rolling up and down the calf. And this is pretty much how it looks. I just so happened decided to wear black and get on a black mat. So if there's any contrast and we have the set mood, my apologies. But I think you'll be able to see it for the most part. So with the calf, our primary focus is to get both heads of the muscle. Okay, you've got 2 heads here, so you got to get the inside of the calf where my left hand is, as well as here. And you're rolling back and forth. You can tuck, point, flex that through that ankle any which way you can to look for trigger points or what we like to call knots. And that is key for these first 5 minutes. We're looking for knots, okay? We're going up into the hamstring first, so after you've done that for some time, again, this 5 minutes is just a recap, so we aren't spending too much time here. Same thing for the hamstring. Now, typically for me, I don't get as much out of the hamstring unless I have some additional support. I'll tell you what that looks like when we get to it. But typically, I don't personally find anything in the hamstring that's useful unless I have that extra bit of help. Okay, IT band was the next one after that, or excuse me, the IT band was the next one. So we're going to roll to the side. And so you, between the knee and the hip, you're rolling up and down the side of the leg, okay? All the way up and down the side of the leg. And once you've got done with the IT band, which typically is the hardest, you're going to flip over again. So now I'm on my quadricep, and I do have one knee down. I did it on this side first so you could see part of me that would be off the foam roller. I've got a knee in my hand and elbow off the foam roller, working up and down the right quad. And if you do this right, you will start to find those knots. Again, pay attention to where they are, going all the way up and down. 2 areas that we're going to add in. I rolled right past the glutes, no pun intended. So the glute would also be a part of this. I'll go to that in a second. The other one that we'll be adding in will be the peroneals and the adductors. So let's go ahead and do the adductors first, which is going to require that I turn. And perhaps I might just spend only 5 minutes on one leg because I don't want to rush. I thought 5 minutes might be appropriate for one side, but I don't want to rush you guys. Everything I do on the right side, you will flip and do on the left, okay? So adductors are that inside part of the leg. Think of it this way: when you add, it's the inside, you're adding your legs together. Abduction or abduction is, think of the word abduct, take away. So when the legs open up the outside muscles here, abductors, which in this case is the IT band. So the adductors are rolling this inside here, and you may be doing this and not getting anything in the inside of the leg. So what you can do is extend the leg and point the toe down, and if you roll now, you should definitely feel some tight spots in that adductor space, okay? Rolling from the inside of the knee at the end of that quad muscle right before you get to the kneecap, and all the way into about 3/4 of the way into the leg. Once you get into the groin and gracilis, you don't get too much out of it, but right about in there, you can get a good effect. I'm a little out of frame. Okay, so we work the inside, the top, the outside, the back side of the knee to hip section. We're going to get the peroneals. This is the outside between the knee and the ankle. And then we'll finish up with the glute. We're going to do that in less than a minute. So I'm going to take my roller, put it on my mat. I'm going to stack my legs and work that outside. So I'm just rolling up and down the roller. And again, I'm going relatively fast because we're focusing on what phase 2 is going to be comprised. That's where we're going to spend our time today, is phase 2. So I'm just rolling up and down, doing the best I can to make sure I've got a firm plant with the hands, with the elbow, properly supporting my body as I roll, okay? And I know that this is like, Ryan, how come you haven't had a wind space yet? I'm so used to doing this. I've been doing it for like 7 years now. That is just normal to me, okay? So as you do this more time, you will note that it will be less or more and more manageable for you. We're gonna get into this glute, okay? So I'm up on the glute. We're at the 5-minute mark, so I'm about to wrap it up. Okay, the leg that you roll is the leg that's straight. Okay, let me repeat that. The leg that you roll, or the side that you roll, is the leg that is straight. And I just readjusted there so you can see more of the glute rolling action here. One other thing that you can do, cross that right ankle above the left knee and roll that glute just like that. Okay, 5 minutes and 30 seconds. I've exceeded my time for what I promised. And so we'll pause before we start the next set. So you would do the exact same thing on the other leg. And again, here's the goal. If you've been doing this for some time, you should already know where your knots are, where the tight spots are. For me, for example, on both of my calves, I know I can put my roller right about here in my calf and point my foot out and point it just a little bit. And with the right pressure coming up and rolling right in that spot, I know I'll always find a tight spot because that's just where the tension in my calf seems to collect itself. It's probably because my feet are slightly internally rotated. And then I also have just a little bit of pronation as well. So with that right angle, I keep that part of my calf really tight. And so I know how to get to it. I could probably even do that same thing. Yep, find that tension right there, exactly. So that's where I capture some of my tension when I work out. And that's been learning that over time, repetition after repetition. So I've identified all of my trigger points, all of my knots at this point. And let's say you've got your phone or a piece of paper out and you've taken note of where all those trigger points are. Great, here's the next step. And the options that I recommend for my clients. So to really address trigger points, you've got a few different things. You do a tennis ball, okay? You do a lacrosse ball, less give than a tennis ball. Tennis ball has a lot more give than a lacrosse ball. There's no way I can do that with that. Or if you had a wall ball or something, another option would be a softball, something this size, and that was probably your most unforgiving option, but would provide the best results. Other than that, you're probably wondering what this is. I am an authorized seller and aficionado, enthusiast, user, lover of this product, Hyperice. These are the Hyperspheres, the Hypersphere regular and the Hypersphere mini, 5 inches and 3 inches. And what these devices do is provide massage in the sense of vibration. The vibration activates the muscle, which causes circulation to take place, and circulation is important because it takes away what we need to take away from the muscle, all the bad stuff, and it brings in all the good stuff, all the oxygen, all the nutrients, vitamins we need, all the lymph, all the blood that hasn't circulated out that's starting to coagulate. It takes all that out, so this is important. We also have an option, a vibrating foam roller, which I love. I'm on this most of the time. 3 settings of vibration. All right, so for today's purposes, I'm going to be mixing between the Hypersphere and Hypersphere Mini. I had these on earlier, but it's just as simple as holding the buttons down and they're ready to go. I'm going to put the tennis ball and the lacrosse ball to the side, but all of the following movements I'm going to do, you can do with a tennis ball or a lacrosse ball. Let's go ahead and reset our time. We'll go ahead and start, and this time we're going to slow it down. We're going to spend 5 minutes on the right leg, 5 minutes on the left. So for starters, I'm going to turn my vibrating Hypersphere on, and I'm going to go right to that trigger point that I noted in the 5 minutes. And here's phase 2. I would prefer that you would invest in vibration massage therapy because of the effectiveness of it. 9 times more effective, okay, than doing this without the vibration. And again, that's based on the activation of the muscle, meaning we're actually getting the muscle fibers to fire, which is very important because that stimulates the blood flow and it aids and speeds up the recovery process. You can check out more of it. I'm sure I'll send you a link if you're interested, or you can just look it up online if you want to. But I highly recommend this process. And don't forget, since I am your trainer, I can get you a discount on these as well. So don't forget that. Discount with free shipping. That has now been eternalized in this video. So that is a commitment and something I offer to you. So what's going on here? Vibrating on the lowest level, I'm working on that tight spot. And usually without the vibration, this is extremely uncomfortable. If you foam rolled, you'll know, which you should have, because otherwise you want to go back to phase 1. This is pretty uncomfortable without the vibration already. Just doing this on the softball, tennis ball, regular foam roller, it's going to be very uncomfortable. So having that option to turn on some vibration, maybe even turn this up a second notch. Each of those 3 vibration settings match the natural frequencies of the muscle. That is actually true science. That isn't anything that's airy-fairy. We do have natural frequencies that run through our body. We have an electromagnetic, well, not electromagnetic, we have our nervous system, which has electric, what's the word I'm after? Spaced on the word I'm after here. Has some electricity component to it, very low frequencies, but at the end of the day, those 3 frequencies in the muscles do exist. Multiple frequencies actually, but to get back to the non-specifics, this aids in the process of releasing the tension and stress that's been built up in your body from exercise and other things throughout the day. So that was one of my tight spots. Now I know for my right leg specifically, usually right along this line in my IT band is a very tight area. And I can feel that quite frequently in my exercise if I don't address it. So I'd go ahead and take this. In fact, I'm going to switch here. The mini in this case is a better scenario because it's a little smaller. It's got a better point to it. And I'm just going to turn that up to 3 because that is the highest vibration. And that usually is really nice for the bigger muscle groups. So we're going to look for that spot. And I found it. Now, when you're rolling, you typically want to find a spot and stay on it. Okay? Not the most comfortable thing in the world. Another reason why the vibration is a benefit, major benefit. Okay, and I'm just working right. Actually, it's my IT band to my quad. It's like right in between the two. Definitely something that usually remains nice and tight. Lots of squats, lots of lunges, lots of deadlifts, lots of cleans, lots of different exercises that require some usage of the quad IT band area. And so that's the target. I'm going to go back to the large one, and you're going right now, while you're listening to me, you're going to your target spot. So my next one's my glute. I'm going to go for number 2. I'm up on this, and I'm right in that like midsection to outer part that it's like right between my glute max and glute med, right in there, that larger muscle, and then the muscle that's kind of towards the side there. That's usually where that tension stays on my right side. I'm just going to work through that. Now, again, you can go quads, adductors, outside, inside, abductors, outside, calves, the peroneals. That would probably be my last place before I switch here. We're at 5 minutes. This peroneal, aka everything between the knee and the ankle, gets pretty tight for me, and so I would work there, okay, and get that nice and opened up. It takes a little bit to get used to the ball. If you want something that's a little bit more intuitive and requires less concentration, okay, you just get on, you roll, you can zone out, turn the TV on, watch your favorite show. I might suggest something more like the foam roller. You've got this width, so you can just put your leg or arm or body on here, hit the button to get it going, and that might be something that's a little bit more intuitive, less mental focus, but at the end of the day, let's go ahead and switch. At the end of the day, you want to be focusing on the tension spots, the trigger points, the knots, because if you're specifically addressing those, then you're achieving what we're here to do, and that's to break up that tight tissue, get it nice and pliable again, blood is flowing, and you're staying optimized for your workouts. Because stress, pain, and I'm in that right same spot here for my calf on this side, because I experienced the same internal rotation with that slight pronation in my ankle. Okay, my arches aren't necessarily flat, but if I'm not paying attention, my feet can be flat-footed, and so because of that, I store a lot of my tension right in that part of my calf, and I can just feel it. Like I see you probably might be seeing my leg jump a little bit, because I'm just right on the top of that tight strand of muscle right there. And I can point my toe and really get into it. I can tuck my toe. I can change the angle, which stretches and contracts that muscle and allows me to get in there and break that up, okay? While you're doing this too, and you're holding on a spot, big inhale, deep exhale, and that'll help making sure you breathe your way through this. Don't clench, don't do this, don't squeeze, okay? Relax, breathe, try to enjoy the process. You see I'm starting to sweat because this is work. This does heat up the muscles. This causes some internal friction to take place for activating those muscles, and so we're effectively warming up some of the bigger muscles of the body. All right, so we're going to end at about 10 minutes. I'm just going to do a quick recap on what we've done, what we've discussed. If for whatever reason you find yourself at the end of this video and you're like, Brian, I still don't get it, I still don't understand how to use the Hypersphere Mini or the regular, and I have one from you, then go ahead, let's set up a quick 10-15 minute discussion, coaching session, and we'll get you taken care of, okay? This again is to get you started, to make this a routine. This is a demonstration, 15 minutes or less, roughly 15 minutes total, other than all my commentary, which you all love so much, I'm sure. And so I've been hanging here because I know on my left side, typically my calf is the main area. Let's go ahead and flip over. I'm gonna do some adductor here for you. So I'm off the mat, but I'm working right in that muscle there. And I'm taking that all the way up to right before the knee. And I'm just working my way through, okay? So you can see that I'm working. And if I really need to get in there, I extend my leg, point that toe towards the floor, and now I'm in my quad. And boy, that really gets in there. That's a sore spot. It really is. But that effectively, if I come back to the mat a little bit here, keep myself. Oh, by the way, with these vibrating, you want to make sure you're on a padded surface. If you're on a hard floor, you better make sure your mat's pretty thick, because you can damage these. If there's too much hard floor underneath this, you can damage the internal mechanism. I figured I'd go ahead and share that. But this really helps me get into my quad and break that tightness up, which can really reduce the effectiveness of my workouts. And we don't want that. We're working hard. We're upping our weight on a progressive process, okay? Workout after workout, we should be seeing some push, some move, some increase in weight to continually challenge the body. Otherwise, you experience plateau. And so to maintain nice, relaxed, and pliable muscles, reducing the stress, maintaining the constant recovery process, you want to be doing this on a regular basis. Okay, I've got you scheduled for at least 1 day a week for lower body, 1 day a week for upper body. I would suggest that you do at least 20 minutes of this once you get it down, to really open that up. And once you get really good at this, you could probably get it down even to about 10 minutes, 7 minutes even, where you know, just like what you've seen me do, I know where all my trigger points are, and I can go directly to them, spend about 60 to 90 seconds on each of them. And as you get better at this, you should have less and less tight spots, and you should stay nice and loose, okay? And I'll tell you the effectiveness of this one more time. All right? All right, cool. And again, go ahead and turn that off, set this here in front. I'm just gonna take a nice, relaxed seat here. All right. After that, I would suggest even just spending a few minutes of sitting nice and relaxed. Now you've activated all the muscles within your legs between your ankles and your hips. You can even address your plantar fasciitis challenges. So this tendon that runs from the heel up through the balls of the feet, the plantar tendon here, this joint this tendon becomes inflamed, and that's why you get plantar fasciitis. These will address plantar fasciitis, tennis elbow, and any other inflammation of tendons or joints that is taking place. So you can turn this on and then run through the arch of your foot, working out through that tendon. That vibration is going to break up all that tension, inflammation, blood flow activation, get all that crap out of there and heal up your feet. So that's just a little bonus for today. That'll come in my more advanced phase 3, where we're really going to focus on going deep in the last 12 weeks, and then also talk about maintenance, because after you really get it dialed in, then it's just simply maintenance. So anyway, to finish up, we're nice and activated. We're going to pause the clock here. We don't need that anymore. We're just going to do 3 simple breaths. Big inhale. Deep exhale again. In through the nose. And exhale. One more time. Big inhale. And exhale. I'm taking advantage of the fact that we've activated all the big muscles in the lower half of the body. And you can use breath to help keep that circulation going. You should feel a nice, warm, tingly feeling throughout your body at this point once you finish. And that's what we're looking for when we get done with the vibration massage therapy. Now, why do I recommend this over just using a plain old simple roller? I should have brought my rumble roller, which has the notches on it. Man, that's what I started with, and that hurt real bad. But why do I recommend this over this? Well, like I said, this option here is 9 times more effective than this, and that's simply because of activating the muscle. Now, that being said, it took me about 13 weeks to free up both of my knees. When I was sitting on airplanes, my knees would be extremely tight. I had my quads, my IT bands, all of these connecting into the knee were causing a lot of tension and stress in my knees. And being on a plane for barely an hour or two would cause significant pain through my knees. And I was in my 20s. Okay. I did foam rolling for 13 weeks. And then with my still regular schedule of traveling, the pain was gone. That was 13 weeks time. The reason why I'm suggesting you do this is because you won't have to take as much time. You'll get there much faster than I did. This is a tool that was not available when I started. It's now available, and I highly recommend it, okay? That'll help you break up all the tissue. We can even get into the shins. If you get shin splints when you run, you can address the shins with this. You roll through that shin, okay? If you're a dancer, if you're a gymnast, if you're a calisthenics guy like myself, a lot of the holds might require a plantar flexion point with the toes, which does require quite a contraction through those shins, or anything that regards planting like running, that does require a lot of contraction through that shin as well. So there's a lot of applications here. You can really get through pretty much every section of muscle in your body. I was just working on my shoulder and through here into the shoulder, all the different muscles that connect into the shoulder. We'll talk more about that later. But this is very effective, and it speeds up your process for your recovery, and that's why I recommend this so highly. All right, with that being said, this was Coach Ryan. You just completed your myofascial release energy boost phase 2 programming or protocol programming for your lower body. You will get another video with this. It'll be for upper body specifically, everything above the waist. Until next time, nice work today. Keep rolling. Even if it's just a roller, keep rolling. Please make it a part of your regular lifestyle habits, because you will thank yourself for it in the future. Until next time, nice job. We'll see you later. Okay.